criminals themselves. The second thing we need to do is to prosecute those that are involved, and that includes not just the trafficker, but that includes the demand, that includes the customer, that includes, as it is said in the trade, the John, who seems to get away with this miserable conduct. And the third thing we need to do is to raise awareness in all communities about this scourge. It's unfortunate that my hometown of Houston, Texas, has become a major hub of this crime because of our interstates, our ports, airports, and our proximity to the southern border. And so young girls are smuggled into this area of Houston and then out throughout the United States as property. And of course, it's something that people are aware of in our Houston community, and the community is doing a good job, law enforcement, to make folks aware of this crime and working together to close these places where these young children are trafficked. Other communities throughout the country are following the example of law enforcement, the media, government officials, nonprofits, churches, and communities working together to stop this type of conduct. We need to be aware that it occurs. Denial seems to be the biggest problem in the United States. People I talk to of all backgrounds don't believe that this is an issue, don't believe that this is a problem, do not want to believe that this criminal conduct is occurring. And it is. It's occurring right in the United States. I've recently introduced some legislation along with Carolyn Maloney from New York, bipartisan legislation. It certainly is bipartisan if it's Carolyn Maloney is from New York and a Democrat, and of course I'm a Texas Republican. We get through the language barrier, but we have been able to file this legislation that is excellent. It's Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act. And it's also bipartisan. The Senate's filed our same bill over there. Senator Cornyn from Texas and Senator Wyden from Oregon have filed the same bill in the Senate. And this bill looks at this problem on a broad scope, and hopefully we pass this bill because it will go a long way to solving this problem that we have. And what it does, it focuses first on rescuing the victims of the crime. Mr. Speaker, it's my understanding, according to Hope International, or Shared Hope, that in the United States there are 220 beds for minor trafficked sex victims. 220 plus. That's all. The SPCA says there's 5,000 animal shelters in the United States, as there should be. But there are no shelters, not even that many shelters for the young women that are trafficked throughout the country. So we need to focus on the victims, take them out of the probation or take them out of the criminal justice system and put them in shelters, and find an avenue and funds to do that. And I'll mention that in just a second. Rescue the victim. That is our most important job. No matter where that victim is from, we must rescue them out of that environment that they have been forced into this modern day slavery. And what it does to create revenue, because we're always talking about money, where we're going to get money. This doesn't create new funds in the sense that it's a tax requirement. What it does is allow federal judges, when they have these people before them, they not only have the ability to put them in prison where they should, but in similar crimes like trafficking, prostitution, and other type of crimes, federal judges can impose a fee on the defendant, and that money goes into a special fund that helps victims of crime, gives them the resources for those shelters, gives law enforcement resources to investigate this criminal conduct. So it makes those criminals pay the rent on the courthouse, pay for the system that they have created by judges imposing fines and fees on them, and that money is specifically used not to bring down the debt, but it's specifically used to help victims of criminal conduct. And I think that is something that is important to do. It also goes a little bit further, and it starts enforcing our punishment for these criminals. And I mean by that, the law in the country is pretty good to punish the trafficker, but the person that is getting away with all of this conduct is the demand. The customer is getting away And if there wasn't a demand, this act wouldn't be happening. But the system just lets that person, unfortunately, get away with it. But now the law will be changed, if it passes, that the demand, the customer, the John, can get the same punishment as the trafficker. And not only that, we apply the RICO statute, the racketeering statute, to let it be used in organized crime. In other words, you've got the hotel clerk, the cab driver, the pimp, the John, all working together to have this victim abused. The RICO statute can be applied to all of those involved in that criminal conduct, and they can all be punished accordingly. So hold all of those individuals accountable for their conduct, because it is important that they be treated and punished for the conduct of sex slavery against victims of children. You know, Mr. Speaker, slavery is supposed to end in the United States in 1865. But this new form of slavery deals with destroying the dignity, the self-worth, the hope, the soul of certain people, women primarily, young women primarily. If we don't do anything else in this country, in this congressional session, we need to understand that this problem, this scourge, is affecting the quality of life of people, females, young children. And we have an obligation to rescue them, let them understand that we're on their side, and let them once again have some dignity, have some self-worth, and have some hope. Because that's what we're supposed to do in life, is to take care of people. So I thank the Speaker for allowing me to make these comments on the House floor. Let's rescue the victims, treat them like they should be treated, and then punish the traffickers and those that seek the demand for this, and treat them like they should be treated. And that means put them in the jailhouse for a long time, because that's where they belong. And that's just the way it is. And I'll yield back my time to the chair.